All right, welcome back. So here we go again, appreciating comic book art. Todd McFarlane, Spawn #1, Director's Cut Edition. On the back, you got a cool look at the trade paperbacks, I believe that was. And then this is the Director's Cut Edition, which is the original, well, scans of the original black and white comic book art. And what's different about this was some of the other, books you will see along this line is you actually see at the top you have the Spawn, the issue 1 cover, like all that stuff, where some of that stuff is cropped out, so it's just the work. So this really gives you a good look at the comic book paper in general. There's a look at the original cover to Spawn #1, which I still think is one of the more iconic covers in history of comics, especially with as much excitement that Todd had around him at the time, coming off an awesome run with Amazing Spider-Man and then Spider-Man, and then breaking off with Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, Eric Larson, Jim Valentino, and all those other guys to form Image. And when he came out with Spawn in '92, I can't remember how many million copies he sold, but it was a lot. We're going to jump right into the art here. And what I loved about Todd's work in the '90s was, some of the stuff is very, it's kind of simplistic, right? The way he uses blacks and shadows. Some of it kind of is to save time, but on the same aspect, you look at these buildings, you have heavy shadows with the light source, but the part of the buildings that are in the light, actually quite a bit of detail there. And then the page on the left is just how you see how the panels are broke down. He was he had his own unique way of telling stories, and his art was very unique. It's very uniquely Todd McFarlane. You can't look at his art and say it's anybody else except for Todd. It's a cool look right there. On the right there, because it is a director's edition, he talks about all the reasons why he did certain things in this book, and it's really educational. It gets you into the mind of Todd when he was putting this all together. I highly recommend checking out this book if you get a chance, and just seeing from the thought process of the creator to page how everything comes together. This page on the left was really staple of what Todd McFarlane did. He was doing this stuff in Amazing Spider-Man as well, but he did it more so in Spawn. You can see, we'll cover Spider-Man #1, and you can kind of see that was kind of the way that he was going to go storytelling wise with Spawn in that issue. But this is just really dynamic ways of putting in panels and just backgrounds and meshing everything together. That's the first official shot you see of Spawn's face, but this next 2-page spread right here, you want to talk about a cool reveal, if I can speak, of a character for the first time. It's a double page spread. We got to turn the book sideways, and wow, what an awesome shot there, Spawn, with the buildings in the background, but very dynamic. The dynamic poses, very staple to the '90s. Which, you can think it's somebody looks at Spawn standing on a building like this and he's not doing anything. It probably looks pretty silly. But in a comic book, when you're just looking at the pictures, that's the kind of stuff that really pulls you in as a reader and as an artist. Todd was probably my first favorite artist when I was a kid. Again, here we go, talking about the simplicity of buildings. You don't really notice this with all the colors, but when you look at the black and white, you can see it's very simple how he does the buildings in the background. It's cool though, because it brings attention to the heavily shaded dark areas of black that he wants you to see. And that's kind of just, it's not really important. It serves a purpose for the background, but you don't need to have crazy detail, especially when you're on a monthly book and you're trying to keep on time. I think these are the cool things that, again, all the commentary on the side. It is a very interesting read. I'm not going to get into it because there's quite a bit there, but if you get a chance, find this book and read all these page breakdowns of why he did what he did. This was the cool thing about Spawn at the time. You had heroes like Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man that they didn't kill, and Todd was always kind of against that because, I guess you live in a realistic world. You have child molesters and rapists and all these really bad guys that really don't deserve to live. Yet you put them in jail and then they break out and they do the exact same thing. His character Spawn was not going to be that way. He was going to take out the bad guys by any means necessary, which meant killing them. And that was kind of a new take on the superhero, anti-hero genre at the time. Yeah, so just some more breakdowns. It's an interesting page right there. And then, the story of Spawn, the guy is assassinated, goes to hell, makes a deal with the devil, Malbosia, to come back to see his wife, because, it's kind of a love story when you break it all down. But he gets double-crossed like the devil is going to do, and he comes back, and he was a black man, and he's all charred. You can't even see, make out who he is anymore. And when he does get a chance to use his power, he can only turn into a white guy, which is, a pretty big slap in the face. His wife is never going to recognize him when he actually tries to go see her. So that was, a pretty good twist on the book, that, he's brought back to serve a purpose, and everything he tried to get back for, he was pretty much screwed over. There's Spawn's power counter there at the end, or at the bottom there, which was an interesting concept, that every time he used power, he had a limited amount of power on Earth that he could use, and when he exhausted it, he would be transported back to hell and would have to serve the devil. You want to talk about a really cool villain reveal at the very last, towards the end of the book here, very last page panel, you see Malbosia, again, if I can speak, and it's just, Todd was great at drawing those evil monster-like characters, and in color, this was a really cool shot. Again, look at that on the left, those buildings, very simplistic, but it brings the attention of your eye straight to the silhouette of Spawn. So, even though the Violator was kind of the big bad in the first 4 issues of this, he was the overall, I guess you could say, kingpin bad guy. You had also Jason Wynn and other characters that were villains, but Malbosia was the big baddie. No, yeah, one of the original previews, advertisements for Spawn, just really cool. And again, in '92, if you had Todd McFarlane coming off of Spider-Man, you were really excited about his next project, and you loved his art. You saw this character for the first time, and the excitement was just off the charts. So again, there it is, Spawn #1, Director's Edition, black and white. Find it, check it out. Again, if you like these videos, please hit that like, hit subscribe, share them. I'll be doing as many of these as I can, and as long as you guys keep checking them out. So thank you very much. I'll talk to you all later.